Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. It's the morning after one of the wildest finales the show has ever seen. Look, is the show ending? If it is, it's going to end violently with all the drama that's going on. Now we've got Gabby addressing the Blackface scandal that they refused to address on last night's finale. We'll get into that, what Gabby has to say specifically about this scandal when the news broke. Of course, referring to her now fiance, Eric Schwer's yearbook photo that came to light from 11 years ago, dressed in blackface as Jimi Hendrix. And also Rachel Lindsay chimes in and Thomas chimes in. I'm on Instagram at DNeals. I'm going to be going live on Patreon at the 10 a.m. hour today, patreon.com/Dave Neal, with private behind-the-scenes content. And let me tell you, there's a lot to get into today. We're going to have to be super busy. You mistakenly scheduled my wedding suit fitting for this afternoon, so I got to try to get all this content done before I go put my suit on, because I found love in a broken place, the song, and I am going to be going to Mexico in 24 days to marry the love of my life. In the meantime, I'd love it if you follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal. All right, we're going to get into this. Our today feature teacher of the day is Miss Justine, New York City first-year teacher. Please help me add supplies to my room that's not covered to help create a fun and inspiring learning environment that is inclusive to all. All right, so there it is. You can add these items. They'll get shipped directly to our teacher of the day. Everything from pencils to glue sticks and sharpeners and Sharpies, oh my, hole punchers, booklets and colored things, oh my. Okay, anyway. So there's a link in the comment section below. You can go check that out right now. Let's get into it. We have Gabby hard launching last night her relationship with Eric Schwer. They've had to keep it secret for the last couple months. And of course, because of that, they've had to wait to address this scandal. Now, we know Eric addressed it. He apologized on his Instagram, and folks were expecting this to be mentioned at last night's live. Eric's text messages about his ex were mentioned. Why wasn't blackface? I'll give you my opinion on that matter. You might not like it, but it's just my opinion, guys. It doesn't mean I condone it, for gosh sakes. People go, why are you washing over this story? No, listen, don't get it twisted. Nobody has confronted this story and talked about it more than me. We can look at the receipts if you want. We have over an hour worth of us having this conversation. So here it is. Gabby addresses Eric's blackface photo and leaked text messages. I'm just going to share this from the 2-minute mark. They knew, PR-wise, they knew that they were going to talk about this, but they decided not to do it. On the finale, my thought there is it's the least risk-adverse thing they could do. Look, it's not right. It shouldn't be that a portion of the country doesn't want to hear this, because I think we should all agree or get to the place where we think blackface is wrong. Now, people have come to defend it by saying times were different. Look, that's not a defense of it. That's just an explanation of the world as it was, or as it were. But I think we should all agree that it stems from a place of mocking. Even if he wasn't trying to mock or ridicule, that's where it stems from. And his intention aside, I think his apology was pretty good. It's not mine to accept, but I think it was pretty good. Let's see what Gabby has to say.
As well as a photo of him wearing blackface as a teen. But Gabby says communication kept their bond strong amidst the chaos.
Yeah, with his yearbook photo, I found out, with the rest of the world, and I was incredibly shocked. Just really had to process my thoughts and feelings, and made me heavily think about those scenarios independently, and then think about how we can grow as a couple and learn from this. But I was just as pretty much devastated and shocked after seeing that. And the text messages he had told me about months before. So I think ultimately it was a time for us to take a step back and reflect on our relationship and really weigh each other and see if we can get through this, because it's challenging for both of us. Again, you have to really lean on your communication, be really honest with each other while having these tough conversations. So I think, these, again, are new challenges. They've both happened pretty recently. So we're just kind of like grounding down and seeing how we can become better from both.
Gabby admits that managing outside opinions isn't easy, but she won't let them stand in the way of her relationship.
it's a struggle that you don't really know what to prepare for, how to prepare for. I think honestly, people are really quick to judge, which, like, that is what we're agreeing to live our lives in the public. So I understand that it comes with the territory. But I think, if everybody lived their relationship in the public eye, not many of them would succeed. So I will just hope that, like Rachel said, people just kind of give us grace and respect our decisions that we make. If anything, it's a time for self-reflection and to see, how much you really know yourself as a person and how much you really know your relationship. Because if you have a good solid ground, hopefully these things can't really destabilize you.
Now,
that's a great point she makes. Listen, Gabby's a queen at looking at the situation with optimism and moving forward with growth. And that kind of comes down to what the debate's been. Some people say, well, she's going back and is apologetic for a guy who committed a racist act. And other people say he was a teenager in an environment that didn't tell him this was wrong, that let this boy fail. He was 17, right? So let him fail. You can look at it however you want, but I think when we put ourselves in other people's shoes, we realize, and I sound redundant when I say it, that people are trying the best with the information they have. And, where do we draw the line is the question that people ask morally, ethically, when we get situations like this. How they act moving forward will be a bigger judgment of character versus how they acted in the past. And I say that for you and for myself and everyone else. How we act moving forward with the tools, with the knowledge, with the grace that we may possess is how I believe we should be defined in the here and now. Now, that might come off as washing over it. Now, why did the show decide not to air this conversation on Live After the Final Rose or during the finale last night? Because they didn't have to, because they knew they could get away with kind of leaking it the next day. And it was kind of a spineless decision by them to go that route. At the same time, it's kind of a spineless show. It's a show that only confronts issues when they're knocking on their front door. And maybe they felt like Eric, his apology was enough for them to tread water here. It's compared often to the Rachel Kirkconnell scenario. Rachel Kirkconnell, her antebellum photos was a different story in the sense that she was the winner of a season of Matt James, who's the first Black Bachelor. Different. Every situation's different and unique. I feel like the show decided the text messages from the ex were more pertinent to the love story than his character of where he came from in Bedminster, New Jersey in his high school photo. That's not necessarily my opinion, but that's what the show shows. They could have made time for both. All right, so here's Thomas's instant reaction to seeing that this wasn't addressed last night.
So we're just not going to talk about the blackface. Just to sweep it under the rug. Not gonna lie, pretty disappointed that they didn't address the issues that were going on outside of those text messages. At this point, if you're on social media, we've all seen it.
Turn your volume off.
Especially in the specific context of racial relations when it comes to this franchise in particular. To have a scenario like this and to just not even bring it to light, especially after everything that's happened, bringing us to this point over the last 3 years. It's pretty disappointed.
Yeah, and look, so his next slide addresses the fact that actually he goes, thanks for those who sent this over. They're glad they at least had the chance to speak on people.com. So this was a coordinated effort by Bachelor to say, look, we'll get her statement out literally as the show ends. That should be enough to kind of quiet people down. But at the same time, will as many people watch people.com as watch the finale? No. So they kind of decided to do some sort of soft launch of Gabby's statement on the blackface photo. That's just what they decided to do. You vote with your dollar if you like it or not. Here's what Rachel Lindsay had to say last night. Sigh. Somebody has to say it. This is the picture they should have posted and addressed tonight in the finale instead of the text from the ex. They really missed the mark on a necessary and important conversation that was intentionally not conveyed. This was an opportunity for Eric to put action to his Instagram post rather than hide behind it. Unfortunately, not all of us can hide in the same way when we are so highly affected by it. Look, I agree with Rachel that it could have been addressed head on. It could have been dealt with in a way that would have been growth and learning. Even though he already did address it on his Instagram post, it doesn't hurt to address it on different platforms because you're reaching different people. It's okay to admit that something was wrong. It's okay to admit. Now, I'd be redundant to keep on discussing this. We'll never know what the legal department wanted to do with regards to the show and how they were going to work this into his happy ending, as far as like saying like, how do you sneak this story in? And it's like, look, that's why they call it the elephant in the room. Sometimes you just have to address it, call it what it is, and then try to, educate yourself in a way where you move forward from it. I mean, it's on TMZ. Bachelorette Gabby talks Eric's blackface photo. It's going to be a question that they're probably asked a decent amount moving forward. Becca Kufrin, of course, was engaged to Garrett, who then, for multiple reasons, broke it off after he had problematic likes and posts from his Instagram and Twitter. The story's so old, I barely remember it. But here she is getting ready last night. They asked her, I don't have the official quote, but they asked her by the way, beautiful dress there, Becca. I love the look. They asked her thoughts, and she basically said, make sure that you and your partner have your values aligned. And this is her nice way of saying, we support you, Gabby, but we also feel like there's some problematic behavior there. Again, not to put words in her mouth, but that's kind of the projection that I understood it to be. So anyway, I think it's not where we come from, but it's where we're going. And if Gabby possesses that ability to hold grace, I think we deserve to give it to her as well. Wish her well on her new relationship, and just hope that they do choose to have what could be uncomfortable conversations in an effort to realize that light is the greatest disinfectant, and the more we talk about these things, the more we can educate others and try to prevent that type of stuff from happening in the future. Let me know what you think. I'll be live on Patreon at 10 a.m. today, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Link in the comment section to donate to our teacher of the day. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.